How you guys doing today? We're going to be talking about weapons and the imprints that you're going to be putting on weapons to help you in your alpha caverns experience if you're still stuck and trying to get to that 150 stage, because maybe you're running the wrong imprints. Maybe you're running the wrong weapons on your heroes and you didn't realize that your actual weapon itself can come in a few different varieties, which is going to be super important to mid-max your characters. So for example, my Isis here and over 66,000 HP, which definitely, I will admit myself, could be even higher because I've not gone really too hard on some of the gears, which we kind of showcased off in yesterday's video. So if you haven't checked out that video, check it out, because a lot of that information is going to kind of carry over in today's, because you should understand about main stats, sub stats, and kind of like abilities from those sets that are kind of similar here in weapons that you're going to have to obviously look at and see if it's going to be applicable to the heroes that you're going to be using. So with that, let's dive into today's video. And before we do, remember, smash the like, comment, and subscribe. Support your boy. And we're getting closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So I do want to say thank you to all of you guys that have been watching the content and supporting the channel as always. So weapons, let's go into it. So the first thing is, let's just look at this weapon I've got on my Isis at the moment, and we'll just look at the basics first, and then we'll go layer by layer so you can understand what you need to know. So at the very top, we've got our stars or star rating. You'll notice every weapon you get is going to be 1 star when you kind of get it for the first time. So for example, this Amene Nabuku is going to be there 1 star, and it's just basically dictating its level, very similar to your heroes. So you're going to need to get it to level 10, and once you get it to level 10, you will then need to use a copy of it and promote it up. But we will showcase that process a little bit later on in the video. From here, we've got the actual weapon icon and what faction it's kind of tied to, and then below it you'll see I actually have a little blue icon, and maybe you don't have that, and all it's going to do is signify if you have an imprint on your weapon or not. And this one is basically telling you, because it's blue, I actually have a rare hero's imprint on. And I wonder if right now, if you guys have been playing it long enough, can you guess who it is before we showcase it off later on? Put your comments down below if you want to join in on that fun. But every weapon here has basically the main stat and the sub stat, and the main stat is on the left side while the sub stat is on the right side. And every weapon will come exactly the same as you see here on the main stat. So if I go to the Abe no Nabuku, you'll see it has 10 accuracy, and if I look on the next one, it also has 10 accuracy. So you know the left side is the main stat. However, on the right is the substat that is changing, which means as you go to farm a weapon that you're going to be wanting for one of your heroes, make sure it actually has the correct subtype that you want to really maximize your hero. So for example, here, my good old Grail has HP percent 20%. That's obviously making my HP go even crazy. And if we remove that, you can see how much we're losing. That's nearly 5,000 HP. And that's only for a level 20 Grail. And what's cool about this is these stats here can obviously grow. And this is where you go to your very bottom and you can see the enhance button. So if you click on the enhance button, this is where you go into the smithy menu and you can start to refine your equipment. So for your Grail, you can see I'm going to be needing another duplicate in order to upgrade this into the next promotion. And it is going to cost some God steel that you can farm in the game. And don't worry, I'm going to showcase that off later on in the video too. But when we go, for example, here to this Ame Name Nabuku, I don't know who I'm going to put on this, but anyone who is going to be wanting accuracy and attack is going to love it. So I could honestly just smash this level 10, and you can see it's going to cost me some gold and some rare God steel. I can level it up, get those stats increased, and then, as I said, use a weapon. And every time you break through these thresholds, you will see this promotion is increasing the effectiveness of the passive of your weapon. So this passive is single target, steal, 5% divinity, and now it's going to go up to 6%. And if we hit the yes button, go and carry on, you can see we can actually keep obviously increasing. So now it's going to go to 7%, hit the rank up button, hit the yes, continue, keep going one more time just for video sakes to make it look obviously a little bit more sassier. But boom, we've got an 8% divinity stealer here. And as you can see, each time I'm upgrading this, my accuracy and that attack percentage is increasing, right? So this is how you are able to obviously upgrade, enhance weapons, and gain those valuable stats onto your heroes. And like I said, you're going to be needing to look at a weapon that has some sort of passive effect that is going to fulfill kind of what that hero is trying to do. And we are going to go through some examples of that too a little bit later on in the video too, so stick around for that. But to kind of finish off this little section and kind of to put icing on the cake, when we look at these different weapons, you will notice there is different rarities of weapons too. And this is kind of important because you'll notice there is going to be certain effects that can be found down here, which are really cool, really powerful passive effects. But the real difference that you'll notice between a rare or a legendary, or even if we go, for example, this battle axe, which is a level 1 rare, the main stats and all the substats are lower. So they start lower and scale up, which you can imagine when you have a epic weapon like this Tier Fang, it has higher base stats. So it is going to give you more total stats once it's maxed up. That's the real thing to honestly take into account. Maybe some of the blue ones are really good for that early to mid game, but when you're in that late game and you really are trying to push the damage and get through, you want to look at all of your epics as well as your legendary weapons that you've got at your disposal to actually get the stats to power up your hero that little bit more than you've already done with your gear now. So hopefully that makes sense. That is all of the basics, honestly, wrapped up in a nice little segment all on your weapon. And the next thing to talk about, obviously, from there is going to be your imprints. And then that is going to be all of the information that you're going to need before we go into some examples of showcasing what weapons we can go for and what imprints we can go for on certain heroes and have a little bit of fun with a little bit of theory crafting, right? So first thing is imprints. What are they? Why are they important? Well, imprints will take your character honestly to the next level, and that's what's going to make them go honestly bonkers when it comes to damage, healing, tanking, dealing crowd control effects like confusers or spreading them. You can do a variety of things because an imprint in this game is basically the passive of any of the heroes with a little bit of a reduction. So a really good example of this, a really well-known one by the masses, is Isolde. And if you look at the Isolde passive here on the right side, you will see it says, when an ally defender is attacked, you heal all allies by 2.5%. But you know the real Isolde passive is 5%, right? So you can kind of see where this is going, right? You're gaining that real powerful ability, but at a lower reduction, right? So it's not as effective as the hero. What you can do then, though, is start to combine hero passives onto this weapon, which has maybe an effect kind of similar that wants to do the same job, and equip that to a hero and really transform the playstyle of that hero or enhance what that hero is doing, right? And the thing is, to get imprints in the game, there is a variety of ways of doing it. If we jump out of here and go into the caverns, you can actually just earn these quite easily from clearing floors. You can also get imprints once your hero pool gets full. And you know if your hero pool is going to get full because they did a nice little timer up top here. And you can see I've got 134 compared to 150. So once that's 150, it kind of overflows and puts everything into imprints instead. So you're not losing out on it at the moment, which is quite a nice little feature for the alpha caverns, and a little tip and trick for you guys there while playing in the game. But imprints are really easy to obtain. But what about the weapons? What about the God Steel? Well, every stage, as you guys will know from the last video, is set up in a section. So, you know, from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 and 7 is all your stages for types of gear, right? So this is like, for example, all the chest and pieces are all in this one. If we go down a little bit, so we go into the lower levels, which might be a bit more easier to represent, you can see I'm only getting the pauldrons, I'm only getting the gauntlets in stages or ended in 4, but anyone's ending in 8 and 9 are the ones that you're going to be looking for, because stages in 8 are going to be dropping weapons. These are going to be rares, epic, and legendaries, and then in stages 99 is going to drop you the God Steel required for those weapons. And this is quite important because there is going to be hopefully a little infograph up here, and I want to shout out Zavarok for this because he's honestly an all-star at making quick little info data sheets so you can see what's where and you can just understand the drops in this game a little bit better. And that should showcase if you're looking for particular weapons and what stages they're going to be dropping on. You should know by now, right? But the cool tip and trick, if you don't want to use that tip, you know, that sheet, is every floor in the God Steel, so stages 99, for example, you'll see it drops Olympus God Steel, it's going to drop Asgard God Steel, and it's going to drop Avalon God Steel. And what that means is, in the stage 98, when it comes to these weapons, you're going to be actually farming those types of faction weapons. And you can actually repeat this on any of the other ones. So if you look at stages 88 and 89, it will say the same thing, where we don't know what's going to be dropped, basically. It's a random hero, random legendary weapon here, random weapon, random preview, we don't know. But in 89, we can see we're getting Aru, we're getting the Omniakan, we're getting also the Eker God Steel. So these are the 3 types of faction weapons that you're able to farm from this actual stage. And this obviously correlates to Zavarok's datasheet that you kind of saw earlier on, right? This is how you can actually know what to farm, where to farm it, and kind of what you're looking for, right, when it comes to the weapons side of things. Now, imprints. Obviously, I said imprints you can earn from farming heroes and obviously getting that overflow. But you can also earn imprints by coming over to, I believe, the Anvil of Creation in your main menu. This showcases all of the imprints that you have in game. You can see, because I have farmed so much now, we have honestly so much to use, and we've got more that we can keep coming, and we keep using them. But over on the right side is the extraction area. And if you go to the extraction area, all you can do, as you can imagine, is go around here, find heroes that you don't need anymore, because maybe, just like me, for example, you've maxed awakened them. You know, you've got all of your heroes at max awakened. You don't need these extra sculptures anymore, and maybe you've got enough spirits for your team as well, so you might want to get rid of them. So, for example, let's get rid of the Hound of Duat, and what this is going to do is obviously remove the hero from my pool. It's getting extracted, it's getting deleted, it's getting sent to the Godforge's Shadow Realm. And basically with this, whenever attacking enemies, we're getting a barrier now on the hero, and that's a 5% of the damage inflicted, which is kind of sick if you ask me. The fact that we're just gaining a free shield whenever we're dealing damage, and we can put that on our weapon. So you can imagine any damage dealer, we can put that on. So boom, extract it for 10k gold, and it's done. We've now got the Hand of Duat imprint. We can hit the continue button, and it's just that easy. And the thing is, you can do this for all of them, and you can check what you're able to get. So if you want to try and get the revive from Dracula, if you've got spare Draculas, you can do that. You can get the Eternal Trickster, you can get Falcon Surge, you can get any passive guys in the game for your account, basically, and put it on a hero. So that's going to basically now everything that you need to know, honestly, to do with your weapons and the imprints. You should know the basics, you should know where to farm them and why it's so important to use them. So now let's use some case scenarios. Let's make and have a little bit of fun, and you guys can join in too. Obviously, put in your comment section down below again if you've made or want to theorycraft a really cool, fun concept of a weapon and an imprint and a hero to put it on, right? Because what we're going to do today is do that right now. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and for example, we're going to try and make something for Scatter and not try to make what we would consider the meta-based weapon. We're going to have a little bit of fun and try and do something a bit funky, right? So what you could do is in the weapons for Scatter, we can have a look around, obviously the legendaries. But one weapon I am going to be actually using is the Fanax. And the Fanax says debuffs placed have a 20% chance to also spread to a random enemy. And you can kind of see where I'm going to go with this, right? Because if you read Scatty, her A1 can attack one enemy 2 times and has a 25% chance to place a freeze on that target. And to be honest, if you build your Scatty correctly, and she has easily over around 190 to 170 in that little threshold of accuracy. If you have over 200, it's a bit overkill, but obviously I don't blame you. I understand the frustrations of not landing the freeze. But with this weapon though, we can now obviously A1 someone or A2 3 random targets, freeze them, and have that potential chance with just the Fanax alone to obviously hit that enemy. This is obviously giving us attack, and what we would want to do is try and find a Fanax, as you can imagine, that has either attack percentage here, or maybe in a dream world, if it can be rolled, because I don't know yet, because I haven't done enough data testing myself, but if you could get an accuracy-based one, that would be even better, because that means you're getting more accuracy into, obviously, your kit. You don't need it as much into your gear. You can prioritize on HP or attack to do more damage or survive. It's good as golden, right? So we can get this actual attack percentage one or crit damage one. We'll use this one, right? And we can enhance this for our Scatter, and we're going to use this later on in maybe a future video. And if you guys want me to try out fun weapon and imprint concepts, let me know in the comment section down below too. I want to make content for you guys that you want to see and have a little bit of fun with on Godforge, right? So because I'm obviously having a blast doing it, so let's make this kind of a nasty looking one, because it's got crit damage on, which means if we really wanted to, we could do some funky maybe accuracy, speed, and crit percent build and get a bunch of crit damage built in. Obviously this isn't like the greatest thing. I would consider, in my humble opinion, attack percent. I'd rather have attack percent on this, because I know that is going to get guaranteed use of on Scatter, and it does make a hit quite hard on there, right? But at the moment, we've just got a nice little 30 Fanax now, so we can kind of understand, right, this is what we're working with. A 28% chance to also spread to a random enemy. Obviously, this is going to keep increasing and increasing and increasing until it hits, obviously, the 6 stars for this to give us better chances of landing it. But now let's talk about imprints, because we can take this to the next level and try a funky amount of different things, right? We don't care about Ra, because we're not placing Blaze. We're not really placing Bleed, so we don't care about, obviously, our Achilles. Beowulf could be interesting, just because it means you're doing more damage for free. And obviously, while under Radiance buff, if you get attacked, you place Blaze on the enemy. This isn't actually too bad, but I wouldn't recommend it on it. But you can kind of see the theory that if you run a Brynhild, or if you run anyone that gives a Radiance buff to your team, well, Scatty now can get that Radiance buff, and if someone attacks her with the Blaze, you get 28% chance to spread that to a random enemy too. So that's 2 Blazes for the price of 1, which is quite valuable, right? And that's kind of the fun part of these imprints that you can do. Reflects 15% of the damage. We're not too fussed about that. The one that I actually really think could be really breaking is Pandora. You also have a 25% chance to transfer 1 debuff on this hero when attacking enemies, right? Which is kind of cool, because just think, we are now able, if we're running Scatter and we're going against waves, and maybe we get a speed down or attack down or any sort of debuff on our hero, well, guess what? If we attack that target, we can land a freeze potentially. That has a 28% chance to spread to a random enemy. But then we also have this 25% chance to transfer a debuff I can attack down onto that target and get a 28% chance to spread that also to a random enemy, which sounds to me in Disneyland super fun. It sounds super fun, super interesting, and you are seeing right. I'm going to be doing it, and I'm going to be testing this obviously in live streams too this week before the Godforge alpha ends, but that kind of showcases a little bit of funky stuff that you can do there, right? Some weapons that I'm going to obviously recommend now to certain heroes that you could be using in game, just to give you guys a little bit more to finish off on this video before we wrap things up, right? So the first one's going to be Shamash. One really good weapon you can honestly run on Shamash, and I didn't really realize this until I started using it, and I want to say thank you to the community recommending it, is Mjolnir. The thing with Mjolnir is you get 450 divinity, obviously at level 50. This keeps going up and up as you keep scaling. You don't need to have a max Mjolnir. The thing what you're trying to do with this actual weapon is make sure that in combat that your Shamash has obviously higher divinity than at least one hero in the lineup. Because if Shamash has the lowest divinity out of all of the team, when you try to press, obviously not the A2, the A1, you don't get a joint attack. So it's never in your best interest to have him at the lowest. So whatever you can do, a really good little tip and trick just to help you out maybe, put a Mjolnir on Shamash and watch him start comboing off on turn 1 with his A1 with any of your heroes you could be running in the game right now, right? So that's a really good weapon for him. As we all know with Zeus, this is kind of a typical one, but you can run this on other heroes similar to him, which is a multi-attack Slayer. So if they have a A1 that can attack multiple times, Thunderbolt obviously is a all-star. It's probably the best one that does it, because single target attacks inflict an additional 10% of the maximum HP on the target, right? So you really shred down enemies with the Thunderbolt. And obviously having multiple attacks gets this passive off multiple times, especially on one target. Really good little combo for Zeus. Heroes like Isis, or even if you're running rares like a Soldier, for example, the best thing to run, as you guys have not guessed it, is going to be that Grail, because with the Grail, you're increasing all outgoing healing, and if you've not noticed, you can roll HP percent on it, meaning your actual healing from the passive of Isolde, which is imprinted on this as well, by the way, which is a really good combo you can do for your Isis, because this is going to obviously increase now her HP, which is going to allow my Isis and technically Isolde passive to heal everyone more, but also because I'm getting so much HP, I'm getting a bigger shield because it's 20%, and my passive also, as you notice, removes all debuffs and disables with the ally of the lowest HP, and heal them of 10% of this hero's maximum HP. So that's getting affected a little bit better too. So you kind of see where we're going with this. A really good synergistic healing weapon. I would recommend this on every kind of healer in the game, and you can't go wrong with it. There's a bunch of different kind of stuff that I've been trying to look out on. Heimdall's a kind of cool one that you could run the Ami Nu Nabucco on it. It's pretty cool, and I like, at the moment, I'm trying the Isis combo. This is also giving me a second opportunity to kind of remove debuffs and disables from anyone, keeping me obviously in control of the fight, which is the main goal of here. But what I like about this weapon and the Heimdall is the fact that Heimdall just does, on his A1, as you can see, attacks one enemy and then obviously transfers this through, but you get Retaliate, right? You're able to put Retaliate on everyone, and this honestly makes Heimdall attack a lot, and because you're attacking a lot, you're able to take advantage of that. Another hero that takes advantage of stealing divinity, and this weapon is really good on, if you guys have not guessed it, is Skadi. Actually, Skadi with this is a fantastic little combo in certain scenarios, because her passive ability here, when you freeze an enemy under, you reduce the target's divinity by 10%, but you also increase this hero's by 10%. So you do a steal in her passive, and the weapon can steal as well on top. So you can kind of get that little jazz rolling too. And it is honestly so many weapon combinations and so many imprint combinations in this game that we have not yet explored at all when it comes to things. And honestly, that's kind of the beautiful thing about Godforge. And if you guys have not guessed it, we could be here talking for hours about weapons, imprints, and theory crafting, and what could be used on who, and what could be really fun, what could be meta, what can do the most damage, and all that jazz. But the aim of today's video, hopefully by now, you should understand what weapons are, how they work, the main stats, the substats, the imprints. Obviously, you understand the icons that's on screen too. Should understand how to farm these weapons on the stages, and how to technically look at a hero's kit and see what this hero is able to do in their abilities, and find a weapon and put that in there together to make something absolutely Disneyland world, right? Let's be honest, make it something magical. So if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do, guys. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, if you want to support me a little bit further, check out obviously the Fateless merch store. A bunch of brand new merch has dropped, and if you want to use my code MrSneakyy10, you just save yourself 10% on checkout, and it helps me massively. And I want to say thank you to all of the support over these last few obviously days, through the live stream comments, through the comments in the videos, and just to show love to the community, there should be a couple of comments popping up on screen again from you guys, just to show a bit of love and support, and a thank you for growing the channel and getting closer and closer to that 1,000 sub mark. So if you enjoyed today's video, smash like, comment, subscribe, and until the next one, stay safe, stay sneaky, peace out.